So good to see y'all.
Yes.
My man.
Man, so one of the things I love about this movie is it's filmed over in New Orleans. Being
Yes.
from Houston, it's just right down the road
That's
from
right.
us.
Yep.
We got a lot of people that moved down to Houston after Katrina.
Yeah.
So what was it like going down there and filming where it was so heavily affected, first of all? And because it brings out, it's just such a huge character of the story.
Yeah, well, it is a character. That's one of the biggest things that we talked about, myself, Tyrese, Naomi, and Dante, the cinematographer, was the fact that New Orleans is a character in the film. And being able to capture that city, being able to push through with the cameras and see a lot of the artwork from the local artists. One of the biggest artists out of New Orleans is B. Mike, and a lot of his work is captured on film. And I just thought it was a beautiful place to be. The corruption that was, once lacing that city before was an incredible bed for us to actually lay in and work. And it allowed, I'm going to say honestly, for someone like Tyrese and Naomi to give you award-winning performances. They are insane in this film, man. And I'm not going to stop telling people this is why you have to go see the movie. Outside of the messaging, you have to see the performances. Yeah. I'm like, yo, it's
a whole different Tyrese than I've ever seen before.
No, it's the new Tyrese. We call him New Ty too.
New Ty?
Yeah.
Man, ain't nobody call him.
I'm gonna call you New Ty.
No, New Ty. You crazy.
But since it is like a new version, at least from what I've seen on screen, and I love it. It's so good.
Yeah, it is good.
So New Ty, I got a question for you.
Studs up, man.
What would you say was the biggest challenge filming this that you haven't had on set before? And then how'd you overcome it?
Man, there's really no short answer to that, man. To be honest with you, it was, it felt like I was definitely doing this in the spirit of people that I personally know, things that I've experienced, and being in a city like New Orleans that has specifically dealt with a lot of police corruption from mayors and governors, and it's a lot of Googleable things, a lot of YouTube energy around what's really going on in New Orleans. But I thought about Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin. I thought about Biggie Smalls, his mom. We all love him, love hip hop, love all the hits that he was able to bless us with, but there's too many documents and too many documentaries that specifically point out that the LAPD had something to do with Biggie Smalls' murder, allegedly. And it's just interesting that these type of movies aren't made more often. I think when it comes to black people, I love that we got a lot of opportunities in Hollywood specifically now, but I think it's time for us to say, thank you for letting us be in these rooms, we appreciate it, but we want to start focusing on movies that represent what we're actually feeling, our real vulnerabilities, and what we live every single day. Because it's very uncomfortable being black in America right now.
Yeah, write your own films, make your own movies, control every aspect of it.
Yeah.
Naomi, it's such an honor to meet you.
Oh,
such a
it's
pleasure.
so nice to meet you.
So last night I was at the screening and Deon was up there talking about the film, and one thing I had never noticed is that there's never been an African American character that a female that has ever played a cop before.
Yes, I didn't know that either. It was a revelation to me. Yeah. I mean, that makes this film even more important and momentous, yeah.
Yeah, that blew me away. So was that part of what attracted you to this project?
Well, to be honest, I didn't know that at the time, and I've only recently discovered that. But what really drew me to the project was that I thought it was so much fun, so thrilling, all these unexpected twists and turns, and kept you on the edge of your seat. But also, it has this really timely message, and also so socially relevant. And I was like, that's the kind of film that I want to be part of.
Do you think it's taken too long for a film like this to come out with having an African American character as a lead? Or do you think the timing's perfect?
I think the timing's perfect, but I definitely think it's taken too long as well, you know?
Yeah.
I think that it would be wonderful if we could have had this before, but let's celebrate where we are, you know? These phenomenal films are coming out at the moment, and with wonderful lead roles for black actors, and I'm really excited about this time that we're in.
So this movie's action-packed. Like, you're on the edge of your seat the whole time. I felt like I was being hunted. Like, I felt like a part of you, you know? I was so ingrained.
You were so with me.
Yeah.
That you were like, it's me being hunted up there on that screen.
I felt your experience.
Yeah.
But what was interesting is that there's no CGI, there's no special effects, there's no explosions. So is that part of the unique working with the director Deon Taylor?
Yeah, I think so, because I think he really gets it. And I think what's so often, you know, those big movies with CGI and special effects and what have you, what they forget is what you really need is the connection to the character. And if you care about the character, then whatever their journey is, you're invested and you feel it and you're on this like emotional roller coaster with them. But I think a lot of movies forget that, and they have that missing link, you know, and so the movie doesn't work. But because we have so much emotional investment with these two characters, you go on this incredible journey.
What was your greatest challenge filming this project, and then how'd you overcome that?
I think the greatest challenge was all the physical stuff because I wasn't prepared for it.
That fight scene with Frank is
yes,
so cool.
Yes, there was a lot of that, and like getting like black and blue, and literally black and blue physically, just having the stamina to keep up with all that physicality was pretty challenging. And I have to say, I had a secret weapon, which was my amazing stunt double, Bethany Levy. She did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, when people see you walking down the street, they're going to want to get on the other side.
Yeah,
they ain't going to want to mess with you
exactly.
anymore. So Be the Change is the theme for the movie.
Yeah.
So for people that are out there that want to be a part of the change, but maybe are too afraid to speak out, or maybe they're too worried about what other people think, what advice do you have for those?
I have the advice that change only starts with you, because we're all waiting for the other person to speak up and speak out, but actually we'll be waiting a long time if we wait for them. So we have to be the ones who are brave enough to start the change.
Y'all had me on the edge of my seat, especially with your character. I felt like I was part of the prey. I told Naomi this. I was like, I felt like I was being hunted whenever I was in the theater, you know?
Right, that's great.
Yeah. So going through this, there's no special effects. There's stunts, but there's no CGI, all that. So going in and filming this, how did you approach it differently? Or did you approach it differently than other films that would have some of those aspects?
No, I mean, you know, most movies don't have a lot of special effects. So this was, you know, this is real life. This is you going out there and, you know, you're playing real people. And you get caught up in that fast. Yeah. So what little special effects there were, I think, was with gunfights. So even that felt real when we were doing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think the special effect was the backdrop that was New Orleans. That was enough. Once we got in that environment, the truth, you're in it.
New Orleans played such a character.
It really did.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great city to shoot.
Great city, yeah. Especially the location, the projects that we were shooting in that weren't recovered. That in itself brought real emotions to us and our characters.
What was it like going back there? I wasn't going to ask that, but what was it like going back to that area that had been affected by Katrina?
Part of that area, it was still not recovered.
Yeah.
Or people just abandoned it too. And you could see the water lines on the walls and stuff, and you kind of get a sense of, wow, this was devastation. You know, this was bad.
With your character Darius, he reminds me of kind of like Frank Lucas, crossed with maybe like a Rick Ross look.
Okay.
And the reason Frank Lucas, because like he takes care of his family, you know, but like he's going to be taking care of his people, you know. Was there anybody that you were looking at or maybe thinking of when you were putting the character together?
You know, not this time. Sometimes I need that because I got to figure out, you know, like how do I get into him. But because I was trying to, when I really flew down there, I was really still thinking about this, and not until I found the wardrobe, the costume, and got the gold fronts in, and you know, looked in the mirror and figured that you start to look and go, wait a minute, who's this guy? You know, and grew the beard out. And what was the result? The result was basically maybe some of those things you just alluded to or said, but I didn't go into it with that. And sometimes you do that, but this time I didn't. It just sort of became what it was, a combination of those things, of a Southern guy who is a hustler, who is trying to protect his family and take care of his own, who has an arrangement or an understanding with law enforcement that now is not, you know, he's been betrayed. It's just, you know, it's a common theme, but very specific to this character in this city and this betrayal that happened. So it's a unique thing, but yeah, familiar in that way.
I got to talk about the fight scene, man. with Naomi.
Yeah.
How does she compare when you're like?
Let me tell you, she's
Captain America.
Hey, by the way, she was tougher than Chris Evans, I'll tell you that.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna send this to Chris.
She tell him, he didn't like to get hit. She didn't mind it. No, she was in it, man. She's a gamer. So when you see the fight, you're seeing a lot of her. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I choked her a few times. I mean, yeah, she's tough.